Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool, and there are tons of cool things in this episode today. It is Wednesday, and that tends to be a bit of a bummer day for a lot of people. A lot of people have very hard weeks at work, but you know what? Today we're going to have a good time because we've got our great friend, Agent M, Ryan Penagos from Marvel, coming in on the show right here. He's going to Skype in, and we're going to have a fantastic conversation about all the things going on with Marvel, and we've got a lot to talk about. They are killing it over there, so I'm super psyched about that. We've also got a brand new Reviews on the Run for you to get to, but before all of that, we're going to get started with our regular rundown, and today it's dedicated to our friend CT, who wrote this very nice message. You've always championed being a decent person, and I've always respected you for it. Thank you for giving the underdog a voice for so many years. That's such a nice comment, and thank you so much, CT. Let's get started with your rundown. It's official, Nintendo is switching up the Switch. After months of rumors, Nintendo has unveiled the Switch Lite, a new and cheaper version of the system. It's slightly smaller, and the biggest change is that it doesn't connect to the TV, making it a dedicated handheld device, although it will still run almost all of the same games. The controllers are also different. They don't detach and have no motion cameras or rumble, so if you want to play motion-sensing games or local co-op, you need to buy extra controllers separately. The controllers also have a traditional Nintendo D-pad rather than 4 separate directional buttons. The Switch Lite will hit stores on September 20th. It costs $260 in Canada, $200 in the US. It's about $100 less than the regular Switch. Now, the TV connection and the name Switch kind of implies that you can play it in different ways, and that was a big part of the marketing campaign. But I do recognize that lots and lots of players out there grew up with being able to play handheld Nintendo games. And this is pretty amazing that you're going to be able to leave your house with the exact same games that you would be playing at home. Now, the question that I have with the Switch Lite, because you can't hook it up to a television set. There are some limitations with it, and Nintendo's being very upfront about it. In fact, a big part of their message today was go to their website and check out how the different Switch versions kind of compare with each other. But my question is, if a player wants to leave their traditional Switch hooked up to their television at home, can they have their account still associated with the Switch Lite, so you can have 2 Switches in the same account group, and then you can take the games that you've bought digitally with you? Because I think a lot of people are going to say, well, I'm going to have a second Switch for hitting the road with, or for doing, I'm thinking of myself is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to be hitting the road on lots of flights and taking trains and stuff everywhere, and sometimes I just want to have that portable thing, and it looks like it's going to be a great device. It's going to be smaller. Presumably, they have learned some pretty significant lessons in the last couple of years since they launched the Switch, so probably the internal circuitry is going to be that much faster. I don't know if it's going to be a more robust system. There are a lot of questions left to be answered, but my big one is, can you port your account to both machines if you happen to want to have a couple of machines? I think that's a pretty important step forward for Nintendo. They haven't been able to do that in the past with their other consoles, so this would be a major new way for them to conduct their business, but I think it would be an appropriate one. I also think that this Switch is a pretty great starter machine for young Nintendo fans out there too. The price is pretty decent for the caliber of gameplay that's included in the Switch family of systems, which they're calling now, which does kind of suggest that there might be more added to that family. I would think that there probably is going to be like a Switch Advanced or a Switch Pro, likely next year, and likely tied to some massive game announcement or game launch. But exciting days, and I can't wait to get my hands on a Switch Lite and sort of do that taste test, that comparison. And I know a lot of Nintendo fans are very happy today. Now, another lovable video game character is making the jump to Hollywood. Netflix is teaming up with studio MDHR to create the Cuphead Show, a new animated series based on the hit video game. Like the video game, the new show will have a retro 1930s animation style and focus on the heroic Cuphead and his brother Mugman as they take on foes across the Inkwell Isles. Game creators Chad and Jared Moldenhauer are serving as producers, with the production handled by Netflix's internal animation team. The streaming giant already has other video game adaptations like the Castlevania anime and the upcoming live-action Witcher series. Expect Cuphead next year. Round of applause for MDHR, man. That is incredible. Who would have thought that this 1930s style video game, which was such an incredible idea, anybody that saw that first trailer or that first reveal for the game were like, what the hell am I looking at? Who would have thought that that would have become such a successful Xbox One title? Now it's on the Switch, and it's sort of, it's getting that transmedia sweet spot right now. I've got Cuphead Funko Pops, there's t-shirts and plushies and all kinds of stuff out there. So good on you guys. You're making Canadian game developers very proud, and the Cuphead phenomenon is pretty irresistible. Very, very cool stuff. All right, another video game adaptation has found one of its coolest and most iconic characters. The new Mortal Kombat movie has cast the Raid actor and martial arts expert Joe Taslim as the chilling Sub-Zero. This makes him the first character cast for the new movie, which has been in development for several years, ever since the live-action web series Mortal Kombat Legacy debuted in 2011. The new movie is being made by a different creative team, headlined by Aquaman, The Conjuring, and Saw director James Wan as producer. Expect plenty of cool fights and violent fatalities. Let's find out. I'm curious to find out how violent those fatalities are going to be. I don't know if they're going to approach anywhere close to what we saw in Mortal Kombat 11. But that's the thing about casting this movie. We were talking about it before we started rolling. It's going to be difficult to find actors who can really sell these fights, because these fights have to be insane. They have to be more cinematic than the cinematic stuff that we see in a game like Mortal Kombat 11, which looks like a movie to begin with. All of those incredible cut sequences and all that character work. Joe Taslim cast, and anybody from the Raid. Basically, they should just cast everybody from the Raid movies and put them into this Mortal Kombat movie, and there's 50% of your cast right there. But there's a lot of different, so many characters to cast and do it right, and across all kinds of spectrums. There's lots of older characters, and of course now they've played with time travel and stuff in the mythology of Mortal Kombat, so we can have some 90s style versions of these characters, and then they can be a little bit older. It's gonna kind of make your head numb thinking about who's right for this movie. And in fact, I challenge you in the comments or in the chat today, give me some cast ideas for different characters that you know from Mortal Kombat. Let me know what you think. I don't think these producers are going to have an easy time filling this. And that's what it's really all about. We got to believe these actors in these roles. They got to convince us as fighters, and they have to be good actors. But my fingers are crossed. I hope it's a blast. All right, now Amazon is working on a massive new Lord of the Rings TV series. We're going to switch it over the other way, but that's not the only new adventure that they're planning in Middle-earth. The tech giant has announced that they're making a new Lord of the Rings MMO to go alongside the new series. Like the show, the game will explore events not just from the books and existing films, but also from Tolkien's Second Age thousands of years earlier, which means we'll be seeing new characters, locations, and storylines. The new game will obviously be separate from the existing MMO Lord of the Rings Online, which was released back in 2007 and made by an entirely different publisher. No word yet on a release window. Yeah, this is not too much pressure there, Amazon. You've got to make us a show that competes with what Peter Jackson did with the Lord of the Rings films, and now you've got to make us some awesome games as well. Good luck with that. The Amazon Game Studios, exciting developments and lots of, big acquisitions in terms of teams and engine technology, and they've had lots of great people join their ranks, but there hasn't really been a cavalcade of incredible experiences that we can point to and say, I loved playing that last Amazon Game Studios title. I think they still have a lot to prove with, how they are going to operate as game makers. But they have been doing a pretty good job with the Amazon series. Like if you ever go into, this is what's weird is I don't know how many people are actually watching Amazon Prime Video. You never really hear people talking about it, but there are some cool shows. I watched The Tick through that service, and I enjoyed that. I'm watching The Expanse right now. Thank you for making us new seasons of that. I like that Justified is on there. I watched a little bit of Fleabag. It's cool, but it feels like it doesn't really have the cachet of Netflix or even Disney Plus, which hasn't even launched yet. So Amazon's got some work to do, I think, in terms of public awareness. Actually, I like that Jack Ryan show that they did too. So Amazon has the capacity to make us some cool things for sure. Lord of the Rings is going to definitely be the most high-profile thing that they're putting their big bucks into, and hopefully the game and the show kick ass.